the 2023 college football playoff. It was a little controversial this year how it turned out, and I'm here to talk about it. Who got snubbed, who maybe shouldn't have got snubbed, who maybe should have made it or shouldn't have made it, but they did. That's what I'm going to talk about today. I know it's a little different, and this is my first video of 2024. Kind of weird to say that, but we're gonna get right into it. So if you're not familiar with college football, the top 4 ranked teams at the end of the year make like a bracket, and this was actually the 4 top ranked teams this year was Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama. And hold on, I don't think I have my mouse showing. Hold up. Well, it's not showing up, so you're just gonna have to look at it like this. So it's the top 4. So we got Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama. I've seen other videos where they've gone into each individual team's schedule for this year, and I feel like that would just be a very long video. I feel like, I'm not going to do that. This is what it looks like. Michigan playing Alabama, Washington versus Texas. By the time I'm recording this, actually, both of these matchups have happened, as well as the 5th and 6th seed, which was Georgia, who won the last 2 national championships in like the past 2 years, and Florida State, who was 5th seed. There's a lot to talk about there, but we're going to stay with this. Michigan beat Alabama in overtime. Washington beat Texas pretty soundly. Michigan, they're pretty dominant. They didn't drop a game the whole year. Alabama did drop a game. It was against Texas, who's also here, and they're actually above them. So I feel like just going off of, Alabama and Texas are the only ones not undefeated here. Alabama was beat by Texas, and Texas was beat by Oklahoma. Granted, that was early in their season. Also, another little thing to add. So Texas won the Big 12 championship against Oklahoma State, but I feel like you could have guessed that that was going to happen. I don't know why Oklahoma, I think they had another loss earlier in the season, but so did Oklahoma State. I'm pretty sure they literally lost to South Alabama 33-7. I get that it's your 4th game of the season here, but 33 to that, you're getting beat hard by South Alabama. Why is that happening? How can you make the Big 12 championship? Like, I get that Oklahoma wasn't undefeated, but like, man, I really don't get why Oklahoma State was in the Big 12 championship. And I'm just looking at this from a different perspective because I go to UCF. And if you look right here, they were beat by Iowa State, who had an iffy year. Not only that, but the one and only UCF Knights, who had a not good year in their space game, beat them 45-3. That's pretty bad. Like, I really don't know how you make the championship or the playoff, or the, what's it called? Yeah, the Big 12 championship game with those results. But moving on from that, so we got Texas, who was only beat once by Oklahoma. 5th and 6th seed was FSU, who was 13-0. Okay, maybe I have a little bit of a bias here. Maybe a little bit. I don't hate FSU, but looking at their schedule, it was kind of cake. Honestly, I think Georgia was ahead of them. Georgia was undefeated the whole season. They were pretty dominant. They won the last 2 national championships. I get that doesn't really translate anything to this current season, but they were dominant, and the only thing they lost was 1 game against Alabama, who's now in the championship. And, well, actually not anymore. Well, they just lost to Michigan, but whatever. They got put in the playoffs, and they lost to them by 3 points. And I think that's so BS. Like, and that was in the SEC championship game. Like, it's the championship game. You don't even get destroyed like Oklahoma State did. You lose by 3 against a team that's always good. You get dropped from 1st for like almost the whole season to 6th, and you have to play against Florida State. Florida State, in my opinion, they never deserved to be in the playoff. I get that they were 13-0. Their season was cake, like I said, and I couldn't continue on that train of thought because I'm everywhere right now. I'm sorry, FSU fans. You didn't really deserve that. I saw that they were suing the ACC to like move conferences or whatever. And I see how that's BS, how you can win your whole schedule and still not make the championship. I don't know. Like, the difficulty wasn't there. There was that. There was the difficulty. There was the fact that their star quarterback, Jordan Travis, was out with a season-ending injury for the last few games. And I don't think it was the last few games. I think it was at least the ACC championship against Louisville, which was the most boring game I've ever watched. The most boring game. The first half ended, it was 3-0. I cannot stress how boring it was. Both offenses were so bad. Well, actually, FSU's offense was horrible, but send their defense to the championship, please. Like, by all means, they're really good. But I get that not having Jordan Travis, like, it doesn't disqualify the rest of your rankings for this season, but it is a very different team. Also, what happened last year in the championship is not something to, just put in the past. Last year's championship, Georgia versus TCU. TCU was a big underdog. It was a similar situation than this is. They were undefeated but had an easier schedule, but they still let them in. And they had the Cinderella story, went to the championship against Georgia, and then lost by literally the biggest margin any playoff or bowl game has ever been. Like, the biggest margin, it was 58 points. Why do I know 58 points off the top of my head? Oh, let me show you. Exhibit B of why I really don't care that the Seminoles didn't make it in, because Georgia got snubbed from the playoffs. And I say that wholeheartedly, but they came out with a mindset to close out this season, to finish strong, to show everybody that, they didn't deserve to be snubbed. Florida State, from the beginning, I go to a Florida school, so I hear it a lot. I have a girlfriend who goes to Florida State. I hear it even more because of that. But man, like, I get that FSU's team was bad, but from the beginning, it was just whining. It was just whining. And then literally over 20 players opted out of this game, which I think is so stupid. And you have basically Georgia Bulldogs playing against a Pee-wee team, barely trying. And now I have, just from watching that game, just the Georgia fight song seared into my head just because of how many times I heard it. Florida was basically whined and a bunch of players opted out. And then they lost by an even bigger margin than Georgia beat TCU by last year. That's just yet another reason why I don't really care that FSU didn't make it. But anyways, just looking at the playoff thing, I think that, Georgia should still be in it. I think Texas, they're a really good team. This would have been, everybody knows this would have been the absolute perfect year to implement the 12-team playoff that they're implementing next season, which is just such a bummer. Just unfortunate how the season happened to shake out, how everything was just so, it was so close. Like, it's really just a matter of opinion, and it's really just the committee's opinion what happened to come through. That's basically it. Michigan is going to play Washington in the final. That Alabama's out, Texas is out. I think Georgia should still be in it. I think that's a little BS, but besides that, it was a pretty good season to watch. I'm not like a super long time fan of football, so I don't have like a ton of knowledge to share, but this is what I think from my watching this season. I don't know like every individual result. I'm not like watching every single one of these games every week, but this is what I've seen. This is what I've, in terms of just like looking at the results and my personal opinion of like what I've seen. So hope you all enjoy. This was kind of a different kind of video, but yeah, and I hope you guys, if you're a football fan, if you enjoy I hope you enjoy the final. That's Michigan versus Washington. I have a friend who's a Michigan fan, so I'm gonna say go blue, but go Knights in my heart. Leave a like, subscribe, and stuff. So have a good one. Peace.